Yeah. So we were talking about traveling, and I guess U.S. is a destination. People do come to the U.S., to the U.S. From Brazil, from, Asia. They come, they want to check it out, touristy and stuff. But we don't consider it. Like, we don't, like, hop around and do all this stuff. So for us to go somewhere exotic, we got, it's like we're swapping places, right?
Right.
We go where
We're
they
going
go.
where they are.
So let's kind of like break this up into like, are there areas in different continents you like to see? Like, so between like, are there like, do you ever envision wanting to see much of Africa?
No, I would like to go with my buddy he's from Zimbabwe. And I think if you have somebody that's like lived there and all that, they're going to take you to some probably.
But like
cool
Egypt is there too. So like, so that, that covers that continent, but there's not like, okay, what about South America?
I don't know. What about you?
South America, that would be kind of like your Zimbabwe. I'd like to go maybe check out Peru, and not so much a lot of Central America, but yeah, like Brazil, things like that. Maybe for the whatever remains of the rainforest. Or see that it is or it isn't like disappearing, I bet you there's a lot more to it, So
These are not the drones you're looking for.
but like the Africa trips, I'm not interested in like those, where you get in like the open Jeeps and drive out where there's
safari.
like rhino. No, we are way past that. Like, we don't belong. It's like birds going somewhere in like in a tiger cage. I mean, it's like we are food at that point. I mean, yes, maybe those are just, it's like a big zoo, but there's going to be things that just we're not matched. I mean, like I don't even want to see a lot of giraffes. Like I can see these things in a zoo. I don't need to see them in their natural habitat is not my natural habitat. So like we just don't combine well. And then Asia, I'm not interested in. I like the food here. I don't necessarily want to go exploring around. It's super overpopulated. Okay.
I actually want to go. There's
like where areas?
I want to go to Singapore and Tokyo.
Tokyo, yes. Japan. I'm talking about a lot of like. A lot of the other areas, just not on my top 10 list at all. Maybe if I do a whole lot of travel and I'm like, okay, maybe go check out the Orient or something. So Europe, it's got to be multiple trips because you can't do this whole big tour of Europe. I think Spain its own trip, Italy, possibly 2 trips because you can't cover all of Italy. There's Ireland.
Yeah.
You were talking about Ireland. Tell me about your Ireland trip.
Yeah, one of my dreams is to just go there and rent a motorcycle and go out into the country.
Yeah.
And stop at pubs.
Get your green on.
Yes.
Yes. Want to feel it. Yeah. Yeah, that Nancy.
But just to go out and hit up pubs and just listen to old folks' stories and there's no agenda. There's no
them tell you about
spot.
their potato famine. What happened? You see. But yeah, you got to go off the beaten path. You got to go out away from the touristy stuff.
Yeah,
that's the real right there. France, I think you got to do it for the wives, but like, and maybe some of the little cities and stuff. I'm just not like really all that interested in it.
Greece.
Yeah.
I like to go to Greece and.
Yep. Greece is cool, and a lot of the Eastern European areas are not super safe.
Yeah.
It's just you just can't trust. You know what it is? Is like no different than not feeling safe in Africa. It's just I can't tell friend from foe. Like that's where I'm at. Like where just everybody looks friendly, but there's plenty of them that are not. And now if you kind of arm yourself with some information. I think if you got to try to blend in and not look so super touristy, because there are people who take advantage of tourists.
Yeah.
You know, they see, I don't know if you're just unfamiliar. It's not like there's, SKUs on everything. It's like, how much for this? 15. Local guy comes, it's like 3.
Right.
It's 15 for you. Like they just kind of do that. Like that's a given. It's not, doesn't make the person a crook. It's just pricing is based on the customer.
Right.
It's just, that's pretty standard. And people just don't understand. That's why you have to negotiate, because it's not fixed price.
Right.
So if you just try to go over there and shop, you're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to overpay for stuff because you just don't know how that's done.
All right.
So A, try to look local as much as you can. B, you got to negotiate, and then you'll see. But that's why, like, a lot of like immigrants, when they come to the United States, they try to do that stuff, and it just doesn't work here. Can't negotiate at Macy's.
No. Nope, it is what it is.
But from time to time, though, there's like tips and tricks. I did not know this, so here's we lost our tips, but here's like from time to time during, like, I think it's like springtime or Home Depot and Lowe's, they put the mulch to do the mulch sale. Like the big deal is like the 5 for $10, right? It comes out to like $2 a bag. And so you go over there and I try to go, and it's not been like raining because all the bags are all wet and all that stuff. If you go during a decent business time, they can load it for you. So you just tell them how many. You show up, and they just load it into the back of your car or truck.
Right.
You go close to like closing time, you got to go and load those onto the little cart yourself, put it on your own cart. They don't have enough staff for that. But here's the thing. So this is not limited to the sale, but if you ever show them that, because I always try to get those perfect bags, but the deal is those not so perfect bags.
The holes and some
50% off. I did not know that. They don't even mention it. But if you mention it, they'll take 50% off on the bags that have holes in them. I mean, that comes out to $1 a bag.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I've been doing this wrong. Like, I need to go over there and get all the crap bags.
Yeah.
It's not like they're short.
No.
They just got a hole in them.
Right.
So, I mean, let's say you get like 10 good bags and 10 bad bags. I mean, it's gonna work itself out.
Right.
So, yeah, I remember my grandmother was shopping. Like, she would go and try to get like tomatoes and stuff. Like, here, you're trying to get like the best tomatoes. Like, she'd be like, hey, mister, like your tomatoes, they're soft, they're mushy. I don't know if this stuff is even going to make it home. And he's like, no, it's good. She's like, good? I don't know if these are good. Like, they're starting to smell rotten. I'll find some other tomatoes. He's like, no, come back. How much tomatoes you want? I got some good ones over here. And she's like, well, I don't know, because I was going to make with this, I was going to make a sauce or something. It's like, oh, if you're going to make sauce, it's already good. It's already soft. So then that becomes like a benefit. So this whole thing about like your tomatoes are terrible, and it's like, no, they're actually ideal.
Right.
And then it becomes like a whole negotiation of like, I don't even want tomatoes anymore. And then it's like, no, please take these tomatoes. And then it's like a settle on a price. You end up paying something. There's not a sign that says these things are like 15 cents a pound or nothing. I mean, it just, the price becomes set based on that story.
Right.
Because she's an old lady and because she has a story and she kind of like, if you show up, you're like, how much for these tomatoes? 35 cents a pound. That's it. Like, it's just, that's your price. That was her price. That's your price. It's just, so you have to understand that. You have to negotiate. And if you don't, you're kind of taking away some of that culture.
Yeah. Well, that's just like in any business, though.
Yeah. But there has to be an art of negotiation. There's give and take.
Yeah, there's also sales strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I definitely want to check out some parts of the Middle East, some parts of Europe. There are some like historic sites, that are, I think would be good for kids, myself too.
I want to take like I've been there, but like I want to take the kids to London and get them to see all that stuff out there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I mean all the Greek stuff and also some of the ruins from like Babylonia,
Right.
Mesopotamia. I mean that stuff's still around, man.
Yeah.
It's not just some stuff you read in a book. Stuff's around, and it gives you like perspective of like scale of things. And there were a lot of like civilizations and advanced people for the time.
Yeah.
They had chariots. That was like their Tesla.
Well, you think about, you mentioned even the pyramids. Like, how do they build all that stuff?
We don't know. We have the finished product, but did you know that the pyramids were the largest structures? They were the tallest structures until like 1970, like thousands of years until we built something that was taller. What in the heck, man? And it's still there. And we don't even know. We could, if we wanted to do that, it would take machinery, and the stuff wasn't local. They had to be mined. I was looking at it from a perspective of like, okay, let's say bad things happen and humanity lost 3/4 of its population. How can anyone explain like our way of life? How do you explain, like, how do you etch into I know we have a digital, but what if like electricity goes away? Digital stuff sucks. Like it's no good. So how do we etch into stone freaking tablet
Right.
and Wi-Fi and SIM cards and like a lot of this stuff, like, charging. Like, I mean, how do we explain all this in basic terms?
I don't know. Because, like you said, even this tablet I'm using, like, if you found it and there was no electricity,
It looks like a terrible mirror. It's like, what's this?
what's this?
It's a plate. It's like not very durable.
Yeah.
Can't see through it. Can't reflect very well. Junk, throw it away, But I don't know. I don't know we're not leaving a lot of good information. Because even if you look at the stuff they sent out with the Voyager back in the 60s, right? They sent out this thing. It was going to go past, Jupiter, and it was going to go past out of the solar system. It's still out there, right? And they put a lot of thought into like, okay, like what do we put on this thing, right? They've got this like map of the solar system pointing to Earth, and there's a lot of assumptions. They're like, okay, if we put like a human, does it look like we're like as big as the planet? Like, how do we show the scale?
Right.
So they've got like a unified, like they're like, okay, here's a meter, and then we show like the atomic distance between hydrogen. And I'm like, nobody's gonna know any of this stuff. You're making a lot of assumptions that first of all, someone's gonna find this thing and then come read your stupid placard and then understand hydrogen turns to helium, like, of course, and then, okay, 1 meter, because it's metric, of course. It's like, what? What are you talking about? And then it's like, oh, and there's them. That must be where it came from, because they pointed at it. Like, that means nothing.
Right.
And that's our effort. Like, that's the effort, like, to show people where we came from. My God, we're in trouble. So, or like the technology they use to send stuff out to the moon or launch into orbit and stuff. I mean, it was like switches and battery. It's really terrible. It's like Radio Shack technology.
Yeah.
And now we've got like all this stuff.
What was it, Armageddon? I love that movie when they're strapping them all into both of the shuttles. Mm-hmm. And he goes, how does it feel to be in a shuttle that was put together by the lowest bidder?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we are going to the moon or this asteroid to destroy it. Almost bid it on the less bidder.
And like in some ways, I feel like we are a lot more advanced, but then in some other ways, I'm like, I don't know. I think we've definitely gone. We believe we've become more intelligent, but I don't know if we're more capable.
Yeah.
Because you look at like what people did 2,000-3,000 years ago, they did it. We have a lot of like potential. But what are we doing?
Well, it's even like the Roman Empire. Like, they built all that stuff.
Like aqueducts. Like they thought about, like when you go to Italy, you're going to see like they came up with like a river system to basically move wastewater and fresh water and all that stuff. I mean, that's like way before like pumps and all this stuff.
Way before diesel equipment that's drilling into the surface of like.
And a lot of it is just like natural flow. Like it's like just slope it, you know, it just goes that way, you know. but it's like they had that limited technology and they did that with it.
It's just like the SNL skit, the Johnny Canal, where he wanted to build instead of freeways. He's going to build canal systems.
Canal systems, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you'll have a canal system that goes to this state, to this state, to this. And he goes, wait a minute, you're going to have another canal that goes back? Well, yeah.
That's the thing, like right now.
They're like, how are we going to pay for that?
We got this new school being built at like rapid scale, right? But the road system to it isn't finished. And I'm like, we got to put people on buses, man, because I'm not going out there. I mean, they've got one-way road. That's not going to work for a school. Thousands of kids. So you got to go, drop off, and then just keep going. There's no coming back. It's missing the other piece of the canal. You can make a big circle to come back. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Twice a day. Forget that. I'm like, y'all take the bus.
Yeah.
Because they get the preferences on the bus. Like, they give the buses the right of way. So you got to get the buses out. So I'm like, then you just get out.
Right.
Just, you know.
Ride the bus.
You're in, you're out. That's it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
They get that road fixed. They don't care about the $300 million school. Forget that.
It's not even just roads. It should be roads.
Roads. Right. Multiple entry and exits. Yes. Yeah. So I think in a sense, that's why it's important to see a good, you know, sense of, like, if you go back and look at, okay, thousands of years ago on different continents without awareness of other peoples or flights, all these different peoples built pyramids. Why? There's a lot of similarities to them. We don't do it anymore. It's not like everything else is pyramid shaped. Like there was a period where like there's Asian pyramids.
We did it in Vegas.
Yeah. But I mean, you've got South American pyramids. You've got Egyptian pyramids, and you also have Asian pyramids. And there's a lot of similarities. And it's like, and David, this is way before travel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like all this pyramid building, and all of
Did
them, like
somebody travel? That's a question.
so far, so much distance.
I know, but I'm just saying.
And then you start looking at like how all of a sudden we got like this like spark of intelligence, and where we're at right now with all this AI stuff is like we've created something that is for the first time. It's not a book; it's creating content.
Right.
Better than like we created something that's better than we are, and it's like, well, wait a minute, it's like what could happen? Like, have you seen some of the, so they take like a picture, right? So let's say we take a picture of this, and then they go, okay, so like the frame is this square, and then they expand the frame, and they're like, just finish this out. It'll just keep finishing based on what was there. So like if you're out, let's say it's a picture of you at the beach. So then you just extend the frame. It'll just paint more beach.
Right.
To match your beach that you're standing on.
Or better yet, I've seen it where...
Like you take out the rail.
It expands out, but like it knows where... Like it takes multiple pictures from sources of the beach you're at and can expand it out. So it's like,
So it's not even like made up.
No, it's like, yeah,
it's from that.
It's from that.
Kind of like the car with the
Well, even
bottle.
with the new Google phone, like their biggest thing is like they got a picture of this guy doing like the Michael Jordan thing, but he's jumping off a trampoline. He just highlights it, boom, trampoline gone. So it makes it look like,
and then the floor fills in.
Right, and it looks just like,
it's not like Photoshop where you're like having to like do it. It just does it.
It's not like back in the day where I would like it blended in.
Right.
It's like it just goes away.
Yep.
And acts like it wasn't even there.
So we have that, but I don't know that other than in a digital sense, I don't know how that translates to like where does that leave us 100, 200 years from now? Where does that technology leave us? How does anybody know we were able to do that? Or do they think that's stupid?
Well, I mean, we kind of laughed about it, but like even the Jetsons, like pretty soon it's like we were just talking about like I wanted to go on a motorcycle trip in Ireland. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I don't even need to go to Ireland now. Like you put on the
VR stuff, yeah.
You just said like the Apple glasses. Like maybe I just put that on and I say, okay, I want a Harley Davidson and a
right. And
all
for
of a
all
sudden,
intents and purposes, your senses will feel that that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Just like
and then safety's not an issue.
Just like Soarin' and Epcot or whatever.
Right.
Like they have like the mist that's blowing the scent, and they got the mist that's blowing the, and it's just like you're there.
So if it feels like you're there,
because it's moving and it's doing stuff, but it's like you feel like you're there.
I don't know. I there's still more realism in seeing the actual thing.
I know,
but I think that's what that gives you. It's not time travel, but it's essentially instantaneously virtually there.
Well, we were just talking about well, I know you've been here for a long time, but it's like wrong. Like, what would happen if I went there?
Right. There's risks involved.
Right. But now, if with this digital age, and I know that the government's kind of involved with that. So, but like if they weren't, then it's almost like I could take a trip and be safe.
Right. If it's for like tourist attractions or historic sites and things like that, you could see that.
And it would feel like more like I'm
right.
there.
You can't taste food.
Right.
You can't experience culture, things like that. But I don't know. I just feel like there was a time where we were doing stuff, and now it's a lot of like pretending to do stuff. That's why I said I don't know if we're as capable.
Well, and I think
we have more imagination.
But in both of our jobs, what we do, if you think about it, it's almost like we're becoming more of like an airline pilot. You're there, and just in case stuff happens.
Right, but we're also guiding digital capabilities.
Right.
It's no longer like physical. We're not plant operators of manufacturing.
No, but just in that scenario, just like there still has got to be somebody to make sure that the systems are doing what they need to do.
Right.
I'm talking from like back in the day, like even if you had a technology systems, Sean still had to go do something in there.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas now, like you get it, and it's almost to the point of where it's like implemented, and I don't need to do something. Like it just starts figuring it out for me.
Yeah. So like kind of like with those like perpetual motion machines that don't exist because it can't continue to generate the energy that it needs to run. So theoretically, it runs out of energy. It can't continue to bring its own energy, right? And people have tried so many different models, and I've kind of geeked out and looked at a lot of them, weights and light and all that stuff. But over time it'll run out, so it needs to be fed. Well, you also can't have a situation where nothing begets something. But we're at a point where, like with this AI, we're creating some perpetual situations where it's like you could set it and forget it, or you create something out of nothing. So digitally, we're creating possibilities that in the real world are not possible.
Right.
So we've spent thousands of years proving that these things are not possible. Now we've gone into this like alternate universe where, of course, it's possible. Not only is it possible, it's reality. And we like not like metaverse, like oh, I'm an emoji. Like I'm talking about like you said, that's our job, is to make sure that in the digital sense, there's a transformation or there's a conversion or production. And it is like a production line in a manufacturing sense. But it's like it doesn't require all that.
Right. Just to be honest with you, an airliner doesn't require the pilot. Those planes can take off on their own. They can land on their own. But when stuff goes wrong, that's when you need oversight.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see where all this leads us. But I think we have such a huge dependence on electricity. If you look at like, there's
that's
times
why
where
that's why I keep saying battery technology's got to get better. It can't rely on these heavy earth materials.
I shut down power over here. Like we got nothing.
Right.
I got animals that don't make it. I mean, everything's running on electricity. We got lights, we got Wi-Fi. I mean, like so much of it depends on electricity. We get to the point where like even shopping, it's all digital.
Yeah.
So like if their card reader's not working, you can't even buy anything.
Yeah.
Not like Apple Pay. I'm talking about like even regular debit or whatever. So like in some places, I mean, nobody's has turned away cash, but there are places that don't take cash. Yeah. Look at it like it's 10 p.m. You go to get gas. Unless you can pay digitally, ain't nobody taking cash.
Well, even then, it was funny. So we were going to pick up my daughters at camp. And Marnie's like, hey, you got to fill up my car. And I was like, all right, well, let's go. There's a gas station right at the freeway. So I pull off and hit my thing on the thing. It said it declined and then canceled my transaction. So then I slide the card in, canceled. And I'm like, what in the world? So I just get back in the car. And I just start going. She's like, what are you doing? I go, it's a waste of time. Like, because... She's like, well, you could have backed up. And I was like, who's to say that thing ain't working? Mm-hmm. I don't want to say, you're already yelling at me that we're running behind.
Right.
And there's a gas station like right where we pick the girls up. And we had enough gas to get there.
Right.
But we wouldn't have made it home.
But if there's like stuff going on like that, that could also be like all kinds of things. Like, because sometimes they have those like skimmers where there's like a reader on top of the reader. And then people... will just keep entering the same information, and that's how they know, like, okay, this was
first of all, if it's card slider, I always take my thumb and I try to yank it off.
Yeah.
Because that's all they're doing is they're double-sided taping it. Yeah. And it's like...
Or the reader, if it has, like, the wireless one. I like that one.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to use, and it wouldn't work, and then I even tried the chip one.
Yeah.
But it was... I was just like, I'm going to spend so now I'm going to back up and decline. Like, we got enough gas to get there. I know there's a gas station there. Or I'll pull off, like, if you're not. Which is funny to me, because my wife will ride on that red light for days.
Unless it's your turn to get gas.
No, and she'll just ride on that. I'm like, this coming from a person that will ride, like, you would have drove this whole way on that red light.
Yeah.
But it was a problem because I was...
Right. Now there's like, hey, why didn't you do it? Right. Yeah, I try to get the gas. Not because I'm good at it. I just don't want her to be dealing with it. So from time to time...
Well, and the new thing is, now I tell her to take her purse when she goes to do it, because she actually was at a gas station, watched this guy do it. They both got out of their car. She had the card in her hand. Luckily, she had one of my daughters in the car. But she's sitting there watching the other lady. She does her thing. And this guy was just walking, saw her, went over on the passenger side door, opened the door, grabbed her wallet, ran off.
Everything's there. Yep.
And I said, well, you better take your whole wallet with you if you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in taking your car keys and locking the door.
Yeah.
So I try to fill it up, but I'm not always.
You got to have situational awareness.
Right.
See, I'm like, I don't know if it was just paranoia or I watched too many movies or what, but it's just like I pull up, I'm looking for like bad things to happen. And if it doesn't happen, great. I was just ready.
Right.
Like I'm always talking about escape routes and like who's behind me and, you know, just where I sit. It's just, I'd like to know what the heck is going on. If something's about to go down, like, how do I get out of here?
Right.
What's like, I'm big on escape routes. Like you got to know how to get the heck out of here. Cause, it's when you're not aware, because all of a sudden it's going down. Like I'm already on plan A or B. Like I'm like, we already have two plans. Oh, it's B. It's B. It's B.
Here it goes.
It's through the kitchen. Just follow me. Like it's not like, oh, what do we do? What's happening? What are our options? You're dead. Come with.
Yeah.
But then your crew has to know that you're going to lead them out. When I say go, it's go time.
Yeah.
We're
There's no
coming
questioning
back.
where are we going.
We're through the kitchen, out the back. It's just gone. Yeah. I do remember doing that at a college party that this kind of like gives some insight as to how this all developed, but it wasn't supposed to be a party. It just kind of became one, and it got out of control. It was like on the third floor, this one little unit, and it was like too many people there. No room.
Right.
And kitchen was full, living room was full. There was probably like well over 50 people in this thing. Music, I'm sure, you know. So it was just, I was like, someone's going to come. Like, so I was, as much as it was tight, I was trying to watch for exits. It was like another door by the kitchen that you could get out. There was a balcony, but we're on the third floor. That was no good.
No good.
And then the front door was so packed because where people start coming in and everybody was coming in, they were just kind of jammed in there. There was no getting out that way. So I'd kind of started working my way. And then there was a bedroom that was also full, and there was all kinds of like illegal activities going on in there, but it was just kind of limited to the room. Well, at one point, I see flashlights and cameras, and that was the school police. They bring in because then they video because they can come back and figure out who's who later.
Right.
So once I saw the flashlights and the camera, I'm like, I told my buddy, I'm like, I hadn't even had a chance to explain to them like what was going on, but I was like, we got to go now. It's like, are you sure? I'm like, I was already gone. So it's like, you either follow me. I've already told you we got to go now. Out that kitchen door, like when we came out, I could see there was like 3 more officers still coming in. And we were like on this next door, but you can't look like you're just running out because they'll just shut that down. So I opened it like as if it's another unit because it was like the front door and then the kitchen door. Yeah. They're not as familiar with the layout of this building here. So you come out, I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, stay in your place. I'm like, all right. I'm just like, down. Like we went like a little bit down the hallway. There was a staircase. Down the staircase, out, gone. But yeah, like a lot of people got busted there because like they figured out who these people were,
right?
Because most of them were students. They had student IDs on them. It wasn't LAPD. It was campus police.
Right?
And they like called parents, and it was just like it was like, oh, we don't need this. We got to get out of here.
Right.
But you got to know the exits.
Yeah.
So. That's just one example. I'm just saying it wouldn't have been the end of the world. I just didn't want to have to deal with that hassle. But you got to it's too late to come up with that. You can't be like, "Excuse me, sir. Like, let me get out of here." I was about to leave. Yeah. Also driving. I mean, when you're driving.
Oh yeah. Knowing who's next to you, who's driving in your blind spot.
Yep.
Why is that all of a sudden a thing again?
People used to not do that.
I know. Like, I don't. Like
And
if
both cars tell you, hey, someone's over here. And the other person is telling you, like, oh, there's someone there. Like, why are you driving, like, right here? It's not good for either one.
No.
Spread out.
Well, there's no, like, if something were to happen, there's no room for nothing. It's not good for either of you.
Correct. It's not like it's just not advantageous
Something happens
for me.
in your lane, you do have nowhere to go. If there's something happens in my lane, I have nowhere to go.
Yeah. Especially if there's, like, construction going on and they've got those, like, barricades on the one side. I don't like that lane.
Oh, I hate it.
Because it's like 50% of my options are already out.
But then I get the like, even going through our freeways, like, the like, barriers in between the other lanes and like that, and it's constant weaving, and I'm like,
But I got to always, like, space that out. Like, I'm trying to figure out if something goes wrong.
going this way.
And then, there's a lot of construction going on. There's always, like, these, like, cement trucks, and they're dropping little bits.
Yeah.
Can't be behind that because you'll get chipped, and then, or you can't be behind. It's like, it's always somebody always spilling sand somewhere. It's like, what's happening? So it's like Frogger down the street. And now it's like my exit's coming up and I have to make my way to the fast lane.
Guy that's like thinking like he's got the fast car and he's zigging in it, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you caught up to him again. It's like,
I told
you got nowhere.
I'm like, we're gonna be at the light together. He has to stop right there. Like, there's no point. We were behind this one car, and we were both making a left over kind of by your area, frontage road, where there's that 7-Eleven by Cotton.
Yeah.
So where it goes to Legacy, that left turn just doesn't. So, like, I didn't want to go down to Main and make a left.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll go here and then turn right on Legacy.
Right.
Well, there was a car in front of us, and it was us. Everybody else is going straight. Then there was a point where it's like, this was a mistake. We should have just gone straight. And then I'm like, but this is about to turn now. You don't do it now. Well, that opportunity came and went because now a whole bunch of other cars came and went, and we're still stuck at this left. So the car in front of me decided, I've had enough. Just made the left on red anyway. And they're like, did he just make a left? I'm like, yeah, gave up. Went under the freeway, parked right there, light turned green, I came right behind him. It's just like, was not worth it. Totally not worth it. We had already waited like 5 minutes.
Well, there is one.
Why like 10 seconds earlier?
There's one light by my house, like, and this was when I was traveling a lot, and then I'd have to be up at like 4 a.m. to go catch an early flight, and the light would never change.
Not at 4.
I'm like, and there it was at points where I was like, I'm looking for cops both ways, and I'm like, I'm just going.
Yep.
Nobody's here.
You're not hurting anyone.
It should detect that my car's here and just turn.
You got inch up.
I did, but it doesn't do anything.
At 4 a.m, that thing's set to like 20 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Almost never turn. It's no one's turning. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how valuable these tips are because they drive differently in overseas.
True.
There's some places don't even have lane markings. We're just like so like used to like, oh, stay in your lane. Like there's no lanes. It's just very fluid. It's like bumper cars.
Yeah.
Beep. A lot more horn.
Yeah,
Get out of my way.
Somebody was telling me India was something too. Like it's just like
and people,
people, cars,
weaving in between,
scooters, like just not stopping.
People begging, selling because they know you're stuck.
In Puerto Rico, we rented a car to go to this beach, and stoplights down there. If you want to stop and it's red, you can stop if you want. Otherwise, you can just keep going.
Yep.
I was like,
it's like no need to stop.
Yeah,
we're good.
My wife's like, this is my dream place to live.
They're all flashing red. It's like, we're good. That's enough of that. Yeah, it's just suggestion. So that's the thing. It's like, well, people come here and they see all this. Maybe that explains some of the weird driving that they do, right? Because it's like they still think like
they're back home,
right? And it's like, no, I expect you to follow these rules, but at the same time, we get a mixture, right? Like you got all the rule followers and you got rule breakers, and then I'm trying to like count on like, well, what are they going to do? What's happening here? I'm trying to also make sure I survive this drive. So a lot of,
and I know you use them, but like, and then we got all these stickers, new driver. I'm just like, I don't want to be patient.
no,
I'm sorry.
no, I used it for a period and I think it kind of backfired. So it was just like, we're good. You don't need to put that on.
Yeah. Just drive.
Yeah. Because people automatically assume that you're going to be like driving terribly. So then they try to get around you and then it creates situations for you.
What creates the situations you probably don't even want to put your kid
That's
in.
what I know. That's what I know. I'm like, just take the thing off. You're not helping yourself. Because you're getting this weird driving that doesn't normally happen. People don't just try to go around you. But they're doing that because they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So looks like it's going to take you an hour to get home. I'm going to go ahead and go now.
Go around you.
I was like, no. Anyway, so yeah, I'd say maybe really early learners for sure as a safety. But once they're driving, just let them blend in.
No, I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
Not even ordering them.
Well, but I guess that they have the driving schools have like those driver cars. Those have it.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm talking about. Really early,
well,
like when they're like
like,
just
that's
learning.
like all over the place. So on the car, so fine.
But not the sticker where it puts on your car.
Actually, it's funny because one of them stops in front of our house, and like it must be a good intersection for them to explain because he's always out, and I've been working on my fence. He always waves at me and says hi.
It does the turns and stuff.
Yeah, well, nice. they get out of the car, and I think what he's doing is like
backing up.
No, he's showing them like the intersection and the stop sign and where the stop sign's at, what you need to do at the stop sign. Because that's actually where I got house. Yeah, that's where I got dinged. I didn't stop in front of the stop sign.
Yeah,
kind of rolled through a little bit.
Yep.
And he's like, "No, you got to stop before it." And then I'm like, "Yeah, but you can't see." And he goes, "That's why
you have to stop first.
You got to stop first. Count 3 seconds, then you can inch up and then stop again to look." But he goes, "You always have to stop first."
Yep. Yeah, I got one of those. I rolled up. I didn't stop. Like I rolled up and I thought it was clear, and I took it, and the car I took was the cop. I was like, sorry. Was it because I cut you
California.
off?
It's California stop.
Was it because I cut you off? I should have let you go first. Probably should have. I tried to beat it. I was like, there's a white SUV coming that can beat it. Nope. Not that one. And he's like, no, it's because you never stopped over there. And it was like the stop sign's deep in the road.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see it. I'm like, I couldn't even see you if I was over there. That's the same exact thing he said. So you got to stop, then you can inch up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you wouldn't have known if I'd stopped or not. Because by the time he saw me, I was already kind of doing the inch up. How do you know I didn't stop?
Yeah, but then when you start doing that, then they get mad.
You know, like I just showed up like, wee. there was no prior stop. Like
that's why like they don't have them anymore. Like the cameras though, the cameras. Like Marnie would get those all the time.
Oh,
and then you go to the
red
site.
light cameras. Yeah,
and then you go to the site and you can actually see what's going on. She goes, "Well, you saw my taillights," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you didn't stop. Like it was like slow down." And then
we slowed through, and now that we're in here, let's just finish it. Yeah. Yeah, so that's technology for you.
Yeah. Well, hope we all helped you with driving lessons.
Yeah. Be aware. Have some awareness.
Just be aware.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to train your
local
new drivers,
or overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New drivers, all that stuff. Just have them be aware. Mm-hmm. It'll get you a long way.
Don't assume everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's your first problem. Peace out.
Peace out.